Welcome to the channel, people. Today we're trying 7 different decoupage mediums, and we're going to be using these mediums on the same wood surface with a piece of paper and a napkin. This way we have consistent results across the board. I'm also going to be using the same application technique. If you're looking for more of a how to decoupage video, I do have one of them as well. The link is going to be down in the description box for you. This goes over different types of methods, little tips and tricks to help you with wrinkles or the types of look that you may be looking for when you are decoupaging your DIY projects. So if you're not happy with the projects that you've been making and the mediums you've been using, stick around. Google defines decoupage as the art of decorating an object by gluing colored paper onto it with special painting effects. And you can decoupage just about anything. If you're new around here, get comfy with it because I love to decoupage. Here are the tools of the trade for this video, people, and we are going to even make our own decoupage medium. And because I know most of my viewers are just as budget conscious as I am, I thought let's go over the mediums we're going to be using as well as the costs. So this way you can plan and budget accordingly for your next decoupage project. But please keep in mind that these prices are subject to change depending on your location and where you're purchasing these pieces from. I'm giving you the prices according to my general area. But I will also be linking all of these down in my Amazon store that will be down in my description box in case you want to purchase any of these and try them for yourself. So let's start off by making our own homemade decoupage. And it's super simple, to be honest with you. I was kind of shocked. We're just going to add some Elmer's glue in here and a little bit of water. And I know you guys are like, well, Brandi, you're not measuring. Listen, you know I wing it. We just add a little sploosh of water and a little sploosh of glue. We're mixing it together. We get this consistency and we're going to roll on with it. We're going to be using wood slices, these little squares, to actually decoupage on our paper and our napkin for the entire video. I actually sell these in my little decoupage kits that are now available on my website. They're really smooth and easy to use. I thought I have a bunch of these and let's just roll with them. I labeled the back of all of them, so we have 2 glues, 2 polys, 2 Mod Podges, and the paper we're going to be using came out of a book that I picked up from Hobby Lobby. It's not really thick paper, it's rather thin actually. And here's the beautiful napkin we're going to be using for this video today. It's actually available in one of my napkin bundle kits on my website if you're interested. I always get a lot of questions about that. If you're not familiar with my website, you can push the little 3 lines in the corner. It will open up a menu and you can press the shop and then go to the napkins and it will open them up for you. I have a lot of questions. They struggle with finding it, so I hope this can help answer some of those questions. Now we're going to bring in the paintbrush that we're going to use to apply everything. And we're going to use this sponge, which is the same sponge I use all the time. I picked these up from Walmart, or you can use whatever sponge you want. This is just what I use and I'm sharing that with you. To apply the paper, we're going to use the end of a painter's stick or a tumbling tower block. These work for me. I know you guys are like, Brandi, why aren't we using like a Cricut tool or something? Listen, you use what you want. This is what I want and it works for me, and I'm just sharing with you how I do it. We're starting our demonstration with some good old Mod Podge, and because I like doing light applications when I'm using napkins, I did not steer from that. A lot of people will make comments where more is more. Well, when it comes to napkins, I like to think less is more and take your time making your application. Not with paper though. Paper, it's good to have a nice coat on there. Look at that, glistening. And then apply as usual. Next, we're using our homemade batch, and of course, dog hair. Someone in the comments called it glitter. I loved it. I got a nice chuckle out of it. Thank you for that. The consistency of this reminded me of the Mod Podge. Really, I didn't feel like it was any different. It was, however, a little bit more translucent, and it did seep through the napkin a little bit more than I would have cared for it to. And here's me just kind of showing it to you. See how translucent it is before we apply the paper. Yeah, the paper application, it really wasn't sticking like I thought it should. Yeah, it just wasn't working out the way I thought. It took me a minute to get it on there. Now, I have been hounded in the comments to get this stuff and use this to decoupage. It's been suggested to me more times than anything else, so I'm happy we are pulling the trigger on this today. Can we even really say we're decoupaging if we're just using glue? I don't know, but I gotta be honest, it applied just like Mod Podge or the deco art stuff, so yep, I feel like I'm able to say we can decoupage with just some straight Elmer's glue. Surprisingly enough, the stuff was still a little bit more watery than I thought even without the water, so I had to spend a little bit more time scraping things on there. So I just opened this and it's liquidy. It's really liquidy. Oh. Look at that. I can't peel the cap out, so I just popped a flipping hole in there. I don't know what kind of games this is playing. Just letting you know, just if you can't get the cap out, if you guys purchased this, just pop a hole in it. Alright, hopefully it's working now. I'm rubbing two brain cells together. We're gonna get this done. Oh my god, it's everywhere. Oh. People, you're here for my honest opinion, right? This was my least favorite thing to use. I hated it and did not care for the application process or anything to do with this beacon stuff, and it was one of the most expensive things that I purchased. So I was very disappointed with all of it because I had real high expectations for it. It was just like using straight water. I don't know how else to say it. Even with the paper, it took longer to dry than anything else. In Dollar General, what's up with this cap one here? The secret super sneaky cap underneath of your Mod Podge lid one here. I was like, how do I get this sucker off? And I sped this up because it took me a minute to get this little pop piece out. But once I did, I was pleasantly surprised. It was just like regular Mod Podge or the deco art stuff. It was nice and it had a good thick consistency to it. I don't feel like just because it was $1 that they skimped on whatever they were putting inside of this product. Because poly has a smell and it's not really good for us to be breathing this in for any length of time, I decided to just do this on camera with both things at the same time. But of course, we have more dog glitter. Poly is a very thin medium. I also use other brands of sealers when I'm doing this with furniture. I would not recommend doing this on your craft pieces. I do really love the outcome when I use it with napkins on my furniture pieces. It always comes out really well. Paper, I've had to use Mod Podge on inside of drawers and stuff like that because I don't necessarily care for the poly finish with the paper. But we're going through the process because that's what we're here doing. We're testing it. But just to show you why I'm not a huge fan of this with paper, it is because it comes right off even as you're applying it. It just doesn't stick. You keep trying and trying and trying and trying to put more on there. You think that's going to work. Your paper gets saturated. Then you just end up getting frustrated because it keeps peeling back up. So I flipped it upside down and put some weight on it and called it a day. I let everything dry for a full 24 hours just to be sure. And honestly, can you guys tell by looking at all these beautiful napkins which product is which? Because I sure couldn't until I flipped them over and checked out what I wrote on the back. Out of all the products I used, this one I was most impressed with, and it was the glue. Now for my testing theory, I only applied a layer of our mediums underneath of the paper and the napkins. I did not apply any on top as a sealer to finish them off. This way I could scratch over the napkins, seeing how well they were applied without the sealer, and I could see around the paper on the bottom how well they were still attached to our wood square around the edges. Because for me, when I'm applying paper to something and I'm decoupaging it, how well it's attached around its edge tells me how well the medium is holding the paper to the product. And the reason that is because when we apply paper, we're actually pressing all of our medium out the sides. Whereas with a napkin, we're actually pushing it through the napkin. It kind of comes through it a little bit because it's more of a porous surface, blah, blah, blah. You guys get what I'm saying. Napkins have holes, paper don't. I did sand all of these off camera, obviously. And what I noticed was on certain pieces, while every single one of these squares, I'm happy to tell you, that have the napkin on there, they held like a champ. All the decoupage products held them like a champ. However, some were a little bit more easy to come off around the edges, and the homemade glue was. I guess the water kind of thinned it out a little bit more, and it was also kind of bunchy throughout the process. As you can see with the paper, I would just use regular glue versus mixing the water in with the homemade. To each their own. If you guys make your own and use water and add yours to the glue, you do you, but I'd rather just use the glue without the water. For the poly, the napkin did the same thing. It held up very well, and even through my little scratch test here, it was not coming off. However, the paper, it did not really stick, and I'm familiar, like I said, with this product, so I have learned to use Mod Podge if I'm going to decoupage paper onto a piece of furniture. And really, poly is used best on top of things because it has that high durability, and it's not often people put paper right on top of anything. They use more of like a rice paper or like something like Tim Holtz, and poly works better with those products anyway than a thicker paper like that. The deco art, I have to tell you, I didn't feel like it was much different finish than the Mod Podge. I felt like it was roughly the same, and it's a little bit more expensive in my area than the Mod Podge, so I'll probably just keep using the Mod Podge after I've used the deco. My second biggest surprise was the Crafter's Closet results. Again, napkin held on magically. No complaints here with the application and the end result, and it passed my scratch test. The paper was a little bunchy, but that could have been operator error with me applying the product and maybe using too much. I definitely want to try using this product again at a later point. The most disappointing results for me is the beacon stuff. As I was sanding this down, bits around the edges started coming off where it didn't actually stick thoroughly, and I was surprised because this napkin was completely saturated when I was finished applying it. As I was doing my scratch test, I noticed there were some areas raising up as well, and the paper, you can see it just didn't stick. See the glossy spot that I'm showing you here? That is where the product is actually on the paper, and it just didn't stick at all. If anyone has actually used this product, please comment down below and let me know if you've had better results with it. I would really appreciate that. And last but certainly not least, our Mod Podge results. I'm definitely a Mod Podge fan. I use this the most throughout my channel, and it did not disappoint with the results. The napkin is on there, the paper is on there. The results for both application processes look flawless for me. Just overall happy with this product and the results that it gives when you use it. What are my favorites? I'm so glad you all asked. I love the Mod Podge. I love the Closet, the Dollar General brand. I like the glue and the deco art. So those are the 4 out of this video that I would use personally, and I would actually try again in the future. I love using poly with napkins. That's not in here because I don't feel like I can use that on both products, and for me, this video is about giving you information on what is the best medium to use with either application process, not just one in a specific way. Let me know what you guys think. Thank y'all so much for hanging out with me today. I hope y'all got some learning and entertainment out of the video. Let me know down in the comments below if you have had different results with any of these mediums that I have tried today, or if you have a medium that I didn't try that you love so much that you just have to share with everyone else. I love when people put stuff down in the comments. I have so many people read them, and it is all about helping people on their DIY journey around here. Thank you all so much again. Until next time, bye.